Welcome to A Quick Jump. I'm Rich Bowers, and I have with me today Matthew Truelove. How are you doing, Matt?
Great, Rich. It's fantastic to be here. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for being on. Today on our Quick Jump, we are going to cover the cloud, and I will tell you there is nobody better to chat with us about this. Matthew Truelove is Cognicia's Technical Training Manager, but hear this, he has 4 certifications in the cloud world. AWS Cloud Practitioner, AWS Solutions Architect Associate, Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, which is brand new, and then a certification, but kind of more so a achievement, and one that is not easy to get. He is AWS Authorized Instructor. So he is able to run those authorized training curriculum from AWS directly. I think we have the right person here today. Matt, let's start out with a nice, simple question. What is the cloud?
Let's make this easy. The cloud is really a byproduct of growth from the dot-com era. If we look at Amazon, they grew internationally from about 1996 to 2006. They made data centers all over the world, hosting physical servers that are routing our internet traffic as we know it. And by the mid-2000s, they realized they had excess capacity in their servers and that people, you and I, or end users as enterprise companies, could rent that capacity through remote connections on the internet. So basically, renting their server capabilities. And that's the basis of the cloud.
Wow. So basically, they just had some extra storage and they said, hey, look, who wants to buy, some storage?
Yeah. That is one of the biggest areas of cloud is, remote storage.
Amazing how things happen like that. So sometimes when people hear the cloud, they're like, oh, it's some special technology or something fancy. Explain to me like I'm 5. If I came up to you and I said, what is the cloud? Just so I get a nice understanding. You mentioned the storage piece and you mentioned servers. How does that tie together again?
Oh, for sure. So storage, I think, is easy enough for modern day users, right? We use like iCloud storage and online storage, Google storage all over the place. But one of the core offerings from the cloud, let's say about 2006, was also remote server configuration, which is platform as a service. But let's go back down to the 5-year-old explanation here.
Mm-hmm.
A company like Amazon has some really powerful computers that I basically would not be able to have in my home office or small startup or company and be able to at least afford without significant upfront investment. I can actually configure a virtual machine on an Amazon server that's basically a remotely connected supercomputer and rent it that way. And that way I don't have to pay any upfront investment or anything like that to do some pretty cool things that I otherwise wouldn't be able to host locally.
Got it. So this will drift into our next question about the benefit of using the cloud versus maybe my own servers or on premises as known. So you're saying it's basically I'm able to store my data on somebody else's computer.
That's correct.
And
That's
that's it.
correct.
What are the pros and cons then? Why would I do that?
Absolutely. It's a lot of dollars and cents. If you're going to have, let's say, a local storage system, think about buying your own external drives. And if you go to the store, let's go to like Best Buy or something, and you buy like a terabyte external drive, right? You can see what those prices are online to buy that. For company data volumes, that right, terabytes not much these days. So you need more and more and more. And that's just the storage aspect. But let's say I have like an application, like I have a website that I want to host and run. If I'm going to do that locally, I have to have enough capacity to handle all that traffic coming in and out of my network and configure all of that and be knowledgeable about that, let alone the capital to finance all of that. And when I use the cloud, I offload a lot of that burden of operational management, upfront cost for the hardware and equipment, and a lot of technicians and people that would otherwise need to make sure that the doorway is big enough for all of my customers to get through into my store.
And you are also able to have some flexibility with the cloud as opposed to my own servers. I'm able to quickly, if I have a lot of customers come on by, it can scale up, and happens in the other way too. If I maybe don't have a lot of visitors, unfortunately, I could scale down.
Exactly. You mentioned the correct term there for scaling in and out, scaling up or down. You pay for what you use. Very, very significant. So if I'm doing things locally on premises or my own private cloud, I'm purchasing, let's just keep it servers. 3 servers serves 300 people. And I launch my website and I only get 50 people at first going to my site. I've got capacity for 250 more people that I'm not using, but I've paid for those servers if I'm doing it myself on premises. But then I want to allow for growth. Okay, so how much should I allow for growth while also paying for stuff I'm not using? So now I'm in this guessing game and balancing act of how much capacity do I actually need. When I use the cloud, I pretty much offload all of that guessing and I can responsively add and subtract, scale out or in what I need to meet demand.
Excellent. You can see the value there. You also mentioned workforce. You would need somebody to manage and maintain your own servers, where Amazon, for instance, has their own army of individuals who do this. You also have instant updates. Is that correct as well? So any type of changes or upgrades that occur, it instantly happens when it's from a cloud server. Is that accurate as well?
Accurate to a degree. Nowadays with the cloud, we have where AWS started, for example, there were 3 services. There's over 200 now. And a lot of those newer services are designed to make things easier. They make services that provision of other services, for example. So you talking about updates, it depends on what exactly on the cloud you're using. There are some things where you can have the utmost control and you decide when the updates happen, still remotely. But then there's other services that are designed to just offload as much as possible from you and do take care of things.
Even with all these additional services, it's making it even more customized to the client, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
When we're talking about the players in this space, Amazon, Google, and of course, Microsoft, they are the major players. Their market share is is anybody even close to those three?
No, no,
Not at all.
not
Right.
not not in terms of the variety of cloud offerings where you have software platforms and infrastructure, no one has the full portfolio like those 3.
Got it. So when we're hearing cloud, we think of those three right away. My last question for you as we wrap up on this quick jump. There's also a hybrid version of cloud and your own servers. What is that, and what is the benefit as opposed to just going all in one way or the other?
Oh, for sure. So hybrid cloud is very, very common, and it's simply the union of, you know what? There are aspects of my application or my data management or whatever it is I'm trying to do with compute services that I need to retain locally on my own physical servers and data center. And then there's things that I want to have that connect to take advantage of from a cloud provider. This is very, very common in terms of, hey, you know what? I have sensitive data from my customers that are on legacy systems that have been around for 30 years or so. I want to keep that data in my databases in my local servers. But I'd love to have an API that can be globally distributed and then take advantage of like Amazon's content delivery networks worldwide for my front end, right? So my API and my front end connect to those databases through hybrid cloud. And now I've got pieces of this architecture distributed between my own stuff and their stuff.
That makes sense. So if you have personalized client or individual data that's really sensitive, a lot of companies choose to keep that on their own servers.
Yeah.
Follow-up question, then we're getting out of here. The cloud, is there a security issue?
Oh, always.
Right.
Something called an idea of a shared responsibility model. So when you're using the cloud, you're going to be conscientious about what you're putting up there, and you need to be informed and educated about that provider's built-in security tools, because a lot of times they don't know what you're trying to do. Is this supposed to be a public app, private app? You need to be able to configure and customize those tools on the cloud once you make the decision to even put that stuff on the cloud.
Good. That's a great way to wrap up here on our quick jump. Matt, thanks for being here. Hope that helps everybody. Take care.